Hello, welcome to the Summer Art Experience hosted by Rodman Library. My name is Miss Burwell and I'm an art teacher at Alliance Middle School. What I'm going to be showing you how to do today is something called neurographic art. So what we're going to do is go over the materials that you're going to need first, and then I will be walking you through how to do neurographic art. If at any point today you need to pause the video or rewind, please feel free to do so. I hope that you have fun and that you enjoy your project. So in front of you, you should have your white piece of cardstock and your number 2 pencil with an eraser. What you're going to do is draw 5 to 10 curvy lines. The example that I'm making today has 10 lines. Start on one edge of the paper and end on a different edge of the paper. These lines can curl and overlap with each other as much as you want them to. In fact, the more you overlap, the better. It's important that you're not drawing a picture, that it's just kind of random lines, and that you're letting the pencil have a mind of its own and move freely across your page. Draw slowly, focus on your mark making and the way that the pencil feels as it moves around the paper. For the next step of this project, you're going to take the regular fine point Sharpie marker and you're going to just carefully trace over your pencil lines. Go nice and slow to make sure that you're tracing over the lines that you've already actually drawn. And if you happen to have any pencil marks that stick out from your markers later, you can just go back with an eraser and clean up those lines by erasing out the leftover pencil marks. So I'm sure that you've noticed that as your lines cross over each other, they're creating corners. We want to think of these corners as connections. And what we want to do is start rounding out those connections. So what we're going to do is take an extra fine point Sharpie marker and start rounding out these corners and smoothing out these edges. When this step is complete, there should be no corners left on your paper, just rounded edges. If you refer to the video, you can see how I kind of start on one line and curve to another one and then fill in that gap with my marker. So the idea here is that we want to round out any sharp corners that we see and make our connections nice and smooth. So as you're rounding out all of these corners, allow yourself to kind of relax and just focus on this process. The repetitive nature of smoothing out each of these connections is going to start to feel very easy and very calming. And what we're doing here is practicing an idea of mindfulness, or just focusing on the process itself. So during this step, just kind of relax and enjoy rounding out all of those harsh edges into these nice, smooth, rounded shapes. For the next step of this project, we're going to be creating cells. So you're going to choose 1 or 2 lines that already exist on your drawing, and using the regular Sharpie marker, we're going to draw another line that travels alongside of that line. So kind of keeping this line parallel to the line of your choice. And I would do this with 1 or 2 lines on your composition. And then what you'll do is use your marker to connect these 2 lines together, similar to a ladder. So you're making small lines that connect from one line to the other line across, so that it looks sort of like you have these curvy ladders that are traveling across your page. So now that we have drawn these new lines over our composition, we've created new connections. So we're going to take our extra fine point Sharpie and start rounding out our new connections where our lines have crossed over lines again, and using that Sharpie to round out any harsh corners that we see. We're also going to go inside of the cells that we've made and round out those connections as well. So the last step of this project is going to be to add color. You can use a variety of colors. I would recommend choosing a color scheme of maybe 3 to 4 colors so that everything looks very cohesive and very unified. And what you're going to do is use these colors to kind of fill in the spaces that you've made by overlapping your lines. It's okay if you leave some white spaces. The entire thing doesn't have to be colored. And think about how you can also add shading with your colored pencil to help create depth and dimension. Now that your color's been added, your neurographic art is complete. I hope that you enjoyed this project, and I hope you continue doing some art making for the rest of your summer.